Hello, I'm your host Will Dalton and welcome to your Sporting Shout. This week you find us in North Greenwich, a key location for the London 2012 Olympics. On today's show, we'll be looking at one of the most debated topics in sport at the moment, asking the question, can sport and technology coexist? We went along to Charlton Athletic Football Club's last home game of the season to find out the fans' thoughts on goal line technology. We'll also be taking a look at sports which technology has become accustomed to, such as tennis and rugby. Without forgetting to take a look at some recent instances where technology has helped and hindered sport. I'll also be hearing the opinion of my two guests and our studio audience. So let's get there. Joining me first is our resident sports journalist, Rob Davis, with an interesting view as ever on this topic of technology in sport. Rob, thanks for joining me in studio today. Well, obviously we're asking this question, can sport and technology exist in the same game and arena? What do you think?
I think it's just a natural progression. You look at it in recent years, tennis, cricket, rugby, it's all gone together, you know, relatively smoothly, and it's just a natural progression for sport, really.
What do you think are the pros and the cons of having technology in sport?
I think there's a lot more pros. The pros outweigh the cons. You know, the one con is, you know, just it will slow down the game. It will take away from the feel of the game. But I mean, the pros are there to be seen. You know, a sport is a sport. It's not it's not a business, and the decision needs to be either right or wrong, and that's what sports technology is going to give you. And
obviously, as a sports fan, you're a sports as a sports journalist, you're a sports fan. What sort of technology do you enjoy seeing in the game, or is there anything that you think is there a sport you've seen where technology has been introduced and you think, no, that's a step too far and it's kind of taking away from the game?
No, not at all. I think it's all about trial and error, and I think in today's game, if it's going to be introduced at a higher level, it's always been trialled at the lower levels, and I think tennis especially. You know, a lot of the players didn't want Hawkeye at tennis, for tennis, and it's proved a massive success. Same with Hawkeye and cricket as well. The only thing I wouldn't want to see really is, you know, microphones on the ref. I think, you know, some sports that's fine, American football, rugby, but anywhere else, you know, that's where they can draw the line.
Okay, well, let's take it over to our audience now. Guys, how do you feel about technology in sport? Are you happy with it, or do you think it's going too far and we're losing the actual origins of games?
I think technology in sport is actually a very good thing. I think technology is just being used to enhance people's experience when watching the sport, and in order to make the games a lot more fairer. It makes technology. It gets rid of a lot of the problems in sport where you get, like, because referees are only human beings, and human beings are bound to make mistakes, whereas the technology's there and the technology doesn't make mistakes. In tennis, the technology is absolutely brilliant. In rugby, the technology is absolutely brilliant, and I think they should implement this into other sports such as football as well.
I say in tennis, players get only 3 chances to use the Hawkeye, so I think that's fair. They can't just keep on using it, so only a sort of a limited number of times.
Okay.
I think when you look at sports like tennis and rugby and all those, it's a different culture to football. Football is a completely different culture to any other sport in the world. Yeah, rugby is very civilised, although they bash each other up like during a game. If they show any disrespect to a referee, they're sent off or sin bin straight away. Whereas in football, as you can see, where it's just two different things. I don't think.
Well, do you think that's up to rugby referees being mic'd up, that players know that they won't get away with cursing at referees because they will be heard
but they tried
all
that
around
in
the country
football as well. They've tried it a few times in football. One example, they tried it at Arsenal a few years ago in the 80s, and it worked to a certain extent, but it's a different culture in football. Football's too. I don't know, but it's a different culture. You can't. Football is football, and you just leave football as it is now. Otherwise, too much technology, passion just goes out of football. And
So technology is a big no for you then, I take it.
What are you going to talk about in a pub on a Sunday?
Well, that's true. Well, we'll have to wait and see what comes in or not. But moving on, well, in recent weeks, FIFA have agreed to reassess their stance on goal line technology. So we decided to send our reporter, Kimberly Enson, down to the home of English football, Wembley, to find out more.
The world of football has been calling out for innovations in technology for some time now. But last year, when England's disallowed goal against Germany saw us leave another international tournament empty-handed and embarrassed, for some football fans around the country, goal line technology couldn't come any sooner. So what's FIFA's position on this? At a meeting of the International Football Association in 2010, shortly before the South African World Cup, they decided they would not be implementing technology in football, giving the following reasons. The simplicity and universality of the game of association football is one of the reasons for its success. Men, women, children, amateurs and professionals all play the same game all over the world. Adding, fans love to debate any given incident in a game. It is part of the human nature of our sport. FIFA's goal is to improve the quality of refereeing, making them more professional and more prepared. 8 months on, and the International Footballing Association released this statement. The IFAB agreed to reopen the discussions concerning goal line technology, agreeing on the following principles. The technology would apply solely to the goal line and only to determine whether a goal has been scored or not. The system must be accurate. The indication of whether a goal has been scored must be immediate and automatically confirmed within 1 second. The indication of whether a goal has been scored will only be communicated to the match officials. With such a big U-turn on the matter, does it seem certain that goal line technology will be implemented in the near future?
So that's what the people at the head of the game have to say. But after all, football is a game for the people. So we went along to Charlton Athletic's last home game of the season to see what their fans had to say on the matter.
What do I think of it? I think it should be brought in.
Yeah? How do you think it'll benefit the game?
It would, yeah, I mean, it's going to take the pressure off of referees and linesmen.
It'll kill the magic, you know, the atmosphere?
No, I think this is one of the few sports left where they don't use technology. Tennis uses it, rugby uses it, everybody uses it. And I think nowadays there's too much money in the game to make errors.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it takes 2 seconds to have a look at the replays. And the amount of time they spend rolling about and arguing, you'd pass that anyway, so yeah, definitely.
But if it was just used on a pure black and white basis of was it a goal or not, then yeah, but when it brings other things into the equation, then it's a bit dodgy.
Absolutely, everywhere it can. It's stupid. I've got more technology in my front room than they use in the biggest game in the world. It's ridiculous.
Do you not think it'll kill the magic of football?
No, I don't. No, if it's in, it's in. If it's not in, it's not in. No question.
Yeah, well, in certain areas of the game, definitely. The bits where, say, it stopped, they cleared the ball out of play, then I don't see why they can't use it in that part of the game, because it's not causing a delay to the game. It's going to answer the question yes or no, and you're going to have less upset fans at the end of the game who...
And England will beat Germany.
Yeah.
That's the best thing, isn't it?
Why? Because people have lost faith in the officials. Personally, I think it would be far better if people could be a bit more mature and accept the fact that, you know, sometimes you're not going to see it. But they won't accept it. Money's taking over, and it would help the officials who are under much more pressure than ever before, and increasingly, if they had goal line technology.
You say no?
I say no.
You don't
Human nature.
Yeah.
Human nature. And
do you think it'll kill the magic of the game?
yeah. Enough said, isn't it? Enough said. I don't have to talk about it, that's my opinion.
Great, cheers, thanks.